Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm playing Fields of Fire by GMT Games. And if you follow my videos, you notice that this is definitely not the kind of games that I usually play. This is a very heavy war game. And it's not going to be easy for me doing this because the rules are so damn complicated. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. But I will try to give you kind of an overview how this thing works. The game comes with 3 campaigns: World War II, Korea and Vietnam. And each campaign has, I think, about 7 missions or something. And I'm going to do the second mission of the first campaign. There is already a great playthrough of the first mission you can see on the Board Game Geek. Yeah, I'm going to do the second mission, and well, let's set up the game now. Okay, so game is not set yet. I just want to show you what we have here. This is a fan-made player aid, which allows you to keep track of the activation and initiative phase. And this is the command display that comes with the game. And usually the things that you keep track on these 2 tables here, you should keep track of them in this small area of the command display. So you might imagine this is not so helpful. And then you can place the assets that the platoon headquarters and the company headquarters and their staff has. You can place them all here on that command display. In addition, we have here, most important thing, the rule book, copy of the rule book, because the rulebook that comes with the copy of the game is not very good, so you can download this improved rulebook. And then we have here the briefing booklet, which tells you anything you need to know about the mission. We have some charts underneath here. We have here lots of chits, more chits, more chits. We have some player aids here, which are basically covered by the charts. And this is there is a formula that you can fill out to that you can copy, but I simply did it like this. This helps you to organize your company a little bit. And this is the turn sequence summary. As you can see, there's a lot to do. These are the terrain cards. These are the action cards. And this is now my company, and I will explain you how this is organized. And basically we got 3 platoons. We got here first platoon, second platoon and third platoon. And the leader of each platoon is the platoon HQ. So we got here first platoon HQ. HQ means headquarters. I mean, I don't know how much you know about these abbreviations in military things. I didn't know anything, so I just tell you in case you don't know. Most of you might know what exactly that means. So we got a first platoon HQ, second platoon HQ, and a third platoon HQ, and they are the leaders of the different platoons. And then each platoon basically comes with 3 units. We got here the first platoon, second first platoon, and third first platoon. And if you take a closer look here, you got these 3 yellow dots. And these are basically the single soldiers. They're called steps, but these are basically the single persons, the individual soldiers of the units. So you might imagine, I mean, this is just the way I imagine it. You could think about a platoon of 9 people, and yeah. And I gave the first guy here, they have this rifle grenade. And same here, because I got 3 rifle grenades, always the first unit of each platoon comes with these rifle grenades they can carry. And then each platoon, this is all written by the way here in the briefing booklet. Here you can exactly see what people you have. You have here, these are the different platoons. We got 3 platoons, rifle platoons, each platoon with 1 platoon headquarters, and then 3 units with 3 steps. And there's also, by the way, the experience behind. So always the platoon HQ has an experience of green, and the steps have an experience of line, which is basically average. And so in addition now, we can add light machine guns. We will gain for this campaign 2 light machine guns. Each has 1 step. And we can add 3 bazookas. And then in addition, we gain a mortar, and we can choose there between either this 160mm, which comes with, well, basically 3 people, I imagine it like that, or 3 single mortar with 1 people each. And I will do the latter. I take the second, third, and fourth 60mm mortar. And at the beginning of the mission, you have to assign these weapons to a commander or leader, to a person who gives them the orders. And I assigned now the first weapons to the first platoon. So the first platoon HQ is the guy who will give the first weapons the orders. And in this case it's the bazooka, and here it's the light machine gun. And then we got this second 60mm mortar. They're all assigned to the first platoon in addition to these 3 units. And then we got here second weapons, a bazooka, second weapons light machine gun, and the third 60mm mortar, and they are assigned to the second platoon. And finally here we got the third weapons bazooka and the fourth a 60 millimeter mortar, which is assigned to the 3rd platoon. Okay, so these are now our platoons: mortar section, bazooka section, and light machine gun section. And then we got company headquarters, and these are the people that give orders to the platoon headquarters. And the highest ranking guy is the company headquarters. It's this guy here, COHQ. And he got these kind of assistants, the CO executive officer. It's this guy here. And I assigned to him this artillery forward observer. This is a guy we gain in this is mission 2 here. And here, in addition to the people we have during campaign 1, all these guys here, we gain 2 additional people, attachments. We get an artillery forward observer and a mortar forward observer. And so the artillery forward observer is assigned to the COXO, and the mortar forward observer is assigned to the CO first sergeant. And finally we have here a heavy machine gun, 50 cal heavy machine gun, which is also assigned to the CO first sergeant. This is also, let me see, yeah, we got that here, 50 cal heavy machine gun team. And there are 2 runners, and these are actually these guys here. And we place them here. They are assigned to the COHQ, and we need these guys only for communication. Okay, so what else do we have? Well, we have a Jeep right here. And then we have some assets. Basically, it's all about communication. First of all, we have our field phones. So to give orders, you must be able to communicate with your subordinates. So first of all, the COHQ, he's the guy who's in command of our whole company here. He's in contact with the battalion tactical net. So these are his superiors, and for that he has this special phone here. And then he has another field phone. This is the CO tactical net. So on this CO tactical net, this is where our company communicates. So every one of our guys, we have 6 of these field phones to start with, and the COXO, CO First Sergeant, and our 3 platoon headquarters, they all have one of these field phones so that they can communicate. And to make these field phones work, we also need phone lines that we have to drop if we advance on the map. And we are allowed to carry 8 phone lines altogether, 2 for each platoon headquarters. I gave 1 to the first sergeant and 1 to the COHQ. And then we have another way to communicate, and these are pyrotechnics. And well, basically we have these things that we shoot into the air. We got 4 of these. We got the green star cluster, red star parachute, green star parachute, and red star cluster. And yeah, these are these signal things that you shoot into the air. And we could assign orders to each of these signals, and then every unit that is in line of sight when this signal is used will perform that order. Well, I try to keep it simple and it's also useful, I think. So when I use a cluster or a parachute, no matter what color it is, then I want every unit which is not under cover to search for cover. I hope that this order is specific enough so that it is still covered by the rules. I'm not absolutely sure here, but I think it should work. And then we have colored smoke, which is basically the same thing. It just gives you also the option to assign specific orders to smoke. We got green, purple, red, and wait a second, yellow smoke. There, just like that. Okay. And what I simply said is, okay, every colored smoke should be the order for the people who see it to try to spot the enemy. And finally, we got white smoke. We got the normal white smoke. This is high concentrated smoke, and then we got white powder smoke. And we got 4 of these. And I will not use that to do any any conversation, but I simply use that for to hide behind that smoke. Okay, so these are now the assets and how my company is organized. So now let's set up the board. Oh, and by the way, I don't want to forget that these forward observers, the artillery forward observer has I think he has a radio actually. Yeah, he has a radio which connects him to the artillery network so that he's allowed to, or he's able to contact the artillery, and same here with the mortar. And these are not field phones but radios, and so there has to be no they don't have to be connected to a phone line or something. Okay, so now the game is set, and well, you can call that here the board. This is randomly these are randomly placed terrain cards of the Normandy deck, and there is in the mission in the briefing book, we have here the map, 4 columns by 5 rows. So that's exactly what we got here, 4 columns and 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down this here, that's the so-called staging area. These 4 cards. And this is where our troops simply start. And this is a safe place. So they cannot be shot at as long as they are here. And there's also a communication between all these 4 cards. Okay, so let's see. This is an offensive mission. There are also defensive mission or patrol missions, but that one is offensive. we have visibility is daylight, and use that marker here to indicate that. And it also shows that at the moment there is no contact, the other marker underneath. And I will use these things here as a turn counter. And we got 10 turns. Well, let me see. Okay, we could attempt this mission twice, but if we don't make it after the first attempt, I won't go on with this series. The mission goal is occupy a clear of enemy forces the primary and secondary objectives and clear rows 1 through 4 of any enemy forces. So what does that mean? Well, to clear means to remove all enemy units and potential contact markers. And these are potential contact markers. We find them on every card here. So our job is to clear these lower 4 rows here of enemy units and potential contact markers, and we have to clear and occupy 2 objectives. So, and they have to be here in the last row, row number 5. I've chosen the church as our primary objective and the gully draw here as our secondary objective. Simply because they're easy to defend. And clear and occupy means that there are no more enemy forces allowed, no potential contact markers, and we have to be with our own forces on these 2 cards. Okay, and place the primary and secondary objectives on any card of your choice in row 5. Place an attack position on any card of your choice in row 4, adjacent to either the primary or secondary objective. So we have an attack position here in the woods. It's adjacent to these 2, the church and the gully draw. To be honest, I think the attack position is basically useful for communication. So you could, for example, use the the flares or something to tell your people to move to the attack position or something like that. But I think it is possible, for example, also to attack from here. I mean, that would be also a legal movement to move from here to there. So as far as I understand it, it's simply to make orders a little easier with this attack position. Okay. And the historical opponents are the 3rd Fallschirmjäger-Division. Okay, so, and these are the attachments here, the artillery forward observer, the mortar forward observer. So, yeah, let me see. Here we got our potential contact placement. So this now tells us in which way we have to place the potential contact markers. There are 3 different markers, A, B, and C. And in row 1 we place 1 and 2, we place C, 3 and 4, B, 5, A. So that's what we did. Here we got our markers number C, here in these 2 rows. Here we got B, and up here we have the markers number A. Okay, so yeah, I guess we're ready to go then. Okay, I think what I'm going to do now is I will start the first round or the first turn, but with all the explanation it will probably be too long to, so I guess I go to the friendly command phase, and then I probably will stop this video and load it up. Okay, so we simply move now through this turn sequence summary. First thing that would happen normally is a friendly higher HQ event phase, but as it's written here, it starts in turn 2. So you don't have to care about that now. And then here we have in defensive missions the enemy activity phase. But because it's an offensive mission, we don't have to do that either. So now we come to the friendly command phase. And this is now a very important concept of the game. It's the chain of command. So that means you get command points, and with these command points you can activate units, or you can give orders to units. And it's hard to explain. I'll simply show you how it works. So the first thing is we got that BNHQ impulse. If the BNHQ is not on the map, activate the COHQ. So this is what we do because the BNHQ is not on the map. So we activate now the COHQ. And activating a unit means, in this case, we give him action points. So we draw here the top card of the action points. And we got up here 2 numbers, number 5 and number 3. And the higher number, number 5, is the number that we have to use if we activate a unit. So we have then so-called command draw modifiers. We got them here. And our company HQ, he is green. So that means we have to subtract 1, because he's not that experienced. But the current activity is no contact. Got that here, no contact. So there is no enemy on the map. So we got a +1 again. So we have now 5 command points for the company HQ. Okay, so because the company of HQ is on the top of the chain of command, what he could do now is he could simply order basically every unit here which is in communication range. He could order every unit to do a specific action. But he can also use chain of command, which makes it much more effective. So what he does now is he activates the XO and the first sergeant, first platoon, second platoon, and third platoon HQ. So he activates all these for these 5 people, and that's all he did with his 5 action points. So that was our COHQ impulse. And then we come to the platoon HQ CO staff impulse. And now we can activate the other guys. We can activate the ones that were ordered by the COHQ, we can draw now cards for the ones that were activated by the COHQ. So we start, for example, with, I think we start with first platoon. So we draw another card here, and that's only a 2, that's not great. And first platoon is again green, so we have to subtract 1, but because there is no contact, we can add 1 again. So overall, first platoon has 2 command points. So I simply place here 2 command points to remember that. And now I can spend these command points, or I could save them. If I'm green, during the day, I can save up to 3 command points, no more. But what I want to do is I want to spend at least one of these command points. So here is now first platoon HQ, and assigned to him is the first platoon, first weapons, bazooka, first weapons light machine gun, and the second 60mm. So he could now give orders to one or more of the units that are assigned to him. He could not give orders to a unit that is assigned to the second platoon HQ, for example. He's not allowed to do that because this is not chain of command. He could also not give orders to, I don't know, CO First Sergeant or CO XO, because this is not in chain of command. He only can give orders to the other units that I told you. Okay, and now we got that first platoon, or number 1 first platoon, and damn it, he orders that unit to move here into the woods. And that's a movement action that costs 1 action point to do this. So the unit moves here, and whenever your unit has moved, we usually place an exposed marker here. It's this one, just to indicate that it's now easier to hit for the enemy because there was movement. Okay, so that was the first action point. And now I'm thinking, I mean, we could send another guy here into the marsh, but I think I will not do this right now. I think I'm happy. I will save that other command point, and that's good then. It's fine. Okay, and then let's... oh, just a second. Let's... damn it. Now the activation of the first platoon is complete, and we take here that one, place it here. So that's saved commands, 1 saved command, and the activation is complete. And now we come to the second platoon, and we can draw again a card, and that's better, 4. So again, this guy is green. So we have to subtract 1, but there is no contact, so we can add 1. So again, we have 4 command points for second platoon HQ. So place them here. I could also place them here at allocated and then place them at saved, but I think it's simpler to just stay on that line to keep track of the action points. So, and I will do a similar thing with the second platoon HQ. I will order first of second platoon to enter the cemetery, and I don't move with more right now because there could be mines or some bad surprises. So it's probably a good idea not to move with the whole platoon into the cemetery in a stupid trap or something. So I think it's a good idea to just send one person ahead or one unit ahead. And again, because this guy has moved, or these 3 guys have moved, they gain an exposed marker. So that was 1 point, and I'm thinking yeah, I think that's fine then. Okay. And then we activate 3rd platoon and we do basically the same thing. But before we can do that, we have to draw. So these guys have 5 points. That's pretty awesome. And so they move here into the woods. And this is a hill, by the way. As you can see, we got here a hill. And if you draw a hill card, you simply draw a 2nd card and place it on top of that. And if you draw a 2nd hill card, you draw a 3rd card and so on, so it could become quite high. And yeah, that's elevation. That's important for line of sight because you can look much further from top of a hill than you can if you are somewhere on the ground. And now this guy is also exposed. Okay. And wow. That was then the action of the 3rd platoon HQ. He had 5, spent 1, and I think there's nothing else he will do, so he loses that 4th command because he can only save 3 because he's green. And then these guys are now also, damn it. The activation is complete now. And we have the XO and the 1st sergeant. I think I'll simply draw cards and they will save their commands. Let's start with the XO. So he would gain 5 commands. Again, because he's green, but there's no contact. So he'd gain 5 commands, but he can only use, or you can only save 3. So that's fine then. And finally it's the 1st sergeant. And this guy is line, he's not green. So we don't have to subtract 1 here. So in this case it's a 3, and then because there is no contact we can add 1, so that would be a 4. So this guy has now here, yeah, this guy has now 4 action points, and because he's line he can also save an additional point, so he can save now 4 action points. Okay. So that was now the activation segment. And now we come to the initiative segment. And what we could do here is, we could now, what kind of activate the platoon HQs and the staff that was not activated during the activation segment by the COHQ. But because it's their own initiative, and well, I don't know, they don't have the tactical big plan and so on, they won't get that many command points. So if you draw for initiative, you can only use the smaller number for command points. But when you are activated by a higher ranking officer, you can use the higher number, the higher number. But if you were activated during the activation segment, you won't have another initiative segment. So you can only be activated once during each turn. But there is a general initiative impulse now, and that means we can draw another card and simply this card is not modified by the command draw modifiers, and we can simply give the number of orders to any unit on the board. So that's pretty cool. We got now here 3 because it's the initiative number, not the command, not the activation number, but the initiative number. So we got 3 points here, and I will give now each of these guys here the order to, well, actually it's not exactly an order, it's something they decide for themselves because it's on their own initiative. They try to find cover. Okay, how do you find cover? Well, basically each card has a kind of a natural cover number. It's this number up here. So this cover number is 2, and here in the cemetery we have a 1, and here in the woods we have a 2. We ignore that number here from the hill. We'd only take that one here because on the hills there we have woods, and so we have a 2. And this will be important if we are under fire later on. This will be well, some kind of a modifier. But in addition to this, well, basic terrain cover, we could find a specific location on each card, which gives us additional cover. So let's see, if we go to the woods, maybe we've rotten tree where we can lay behind or something, I don't know, whatever. So, and down here, this number here, that shows how many cards we are now allowed to draw if we try to seek cover. So that's what we do now. We draw 4 cards, and what we're looking for is up here the word cover. So that's the first one, second one, that's rally, that's not what we're waiting for, third one, fourth one, nope. So we didn't find any cover here. Now here in the cemetery, same thing, but here we can draw only 3 cards. Yeah, we got cover here, but we have to draw all 3 cards. I think there are some statistical things that make that important. Okay, so this guy was able to find cover, and if you find cover, it's assumed that you move right under cover. So what we do now is we take one of these. That's special here actually. It's not just a normal cover marker, but here you got this urban cover because there is this house here. If we were in the woods, it would be this basic cover. This is this one, so these are some trees or whatever. And the number here indicates that there would be 3 different cover locations allowed. And here is only one location allowed, but that can be urban cover. And then we got to check now what kind of cover this is. Okay, so here we got the urban cover probability table. And now, this is World War II here. So we now have to check, and we have to randomly determine a number between 1 and 5 to do this check. And there is also a specific way to determine these random numbers. We also do this by cards. So we draw a card now. And you can see these two lines here at the bottom of the card. So first, we see between how many numbers we have to choose. So in this case, there are 5 different numbers. So here we go to number 5, and then we look underneath. So it's the first possibility of number 5. So we have a 1. That's what I want to say. Okay, that's a strong building now. 1 of 5, so that's a strong building, which is really cool, because that will give us pretty high cover value. Okay, so you can see that here, it's a strong building. And now we place that on top of this guy, because he's undercover now. On that cemetery, he's found a strong building. So he's doing fine there, he's inside there now. And finally now this guy here in the woods will also try to find cover, and he can also draw 4 cards. That's a 1, and yeah, here we go, he's found cover. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And he will get this, because it's here indicated, that's a natural cover, it's this one here, it gives him +1. And we also place that here on top. Okay, so that was now my friendly command phase. So just to resume this a little bit, first thing you do is you activate the COHQ. This is the highest ranking officer here. And then you can decide, you can give orders to individual people with the COHQ, but this is not very efficient. What you want to do is you want to use the chain of command. So you can use your command points of the HQ, of the COHQ. You can use these command points to activate your subordinates. And then they can draw again activation cards, and they then can give orders to their subordinated units. If they are not, if these platoon HQs and the staff, if they are not activated by the COHQ, they still will be able to give orders to their subordinate units, but they are not activated. They gain this initiative, which is always lower, sometimes significantly lower, 5 or 3 for example, than if they were activated by the COHQ. And finally, in the end, you have the general initiative. That means you simply can draw one card and use all the initiative points unmodified, so the small number here, and give them to any unit you want. Can be more, you can distribute them between your units in any way you want. And that's pretty important, because to give orders, you have to be in communication with the with the guy who gives the order and the recipient. Is that the way you call them? I think so. And communication means you're either on the same card. Then you basically, you can see the other guy, you can hear him, it's screaming, just giving signs and things like that. So you're always in communication if you're on the same card, but not if one person is in cover and the other is not in cover or under another cover. So for example, if one guy here is in a strong building and the other guy is just hanging outside, there is no common communication then. Another way to communicate is, in this scenario, because we have phones, we can use our field telephone. And a field telephone works in a way that two adjacent cards are always connected. So if there are two people with the same field telephone net, and they are on two adjacent cards, then they are connected to each other. If there's a card between them, you have to place a phone line to make that connection. You can drop that line if you leave the card, for example. Otherwise, you cannot give orders. But the important point is now, for example, this unit here, the number 1 first platoon, he doesn't have a field telephone because we only have 6 of these field telephones. You can see here the COHQ has one, his staff, and all these platoon HQs. And they need them to be activated by the COHQ. But now the first platoon HQ, for example, he could give number 1 first platoon the order to move here. That's perfect, because they're on the same card. They see each other, just tells them, hey man, go in the woods. Fine, perfect. But then we need a second order here in the woods. And that's the order to search for cover. That's what we did. But now this guy is no longer in communication range because he's not in the same card. I mean, don't ask me why he didn't tell him go in the woods and then search for cover, but he didn't. That's not possible. You cannot do this. He just told him go into the woods. And now he's on his own. So if we want to search for cover, then we have to use our general initiative, and then we can give him these action points of the general initiative, which allows him then to search for cover. And by the way, if you're not successful in the search for cover, like it was the case here, you're not allowed to take a second command point or initiative point to try it again in the same impulse phase. So I cannot say, okay, I got 2 general initiative. He takes the first one, tries to search for cover, draws 4 cards, can't find it, and then takes the second one and tries it again. It's not possible. So I got 3 general initiative points, and I gave 1 for each one, and they each tried to find cover. And by the way, it's not possible to save these general initiative points. Okay, so I hope this makes a little bit sense to you. This is, as I said, it's pretty complicated, and if you're not a native speaker and not really so great in English, it's hard to explain sometimes if it gets complicated, but I try my best. Okay, so until now not very much happened, but now we come to the to the face of the enemy, and we will see if we have contact in the woods or on the cemetery, and if we will be fired at. But this is something we will do in the next video because it's also a little bit complicated. Okay, so hope to see you then. Bye.